Cowboys at AT&T Stadium.
Anything that moves between these lines, gotta get dealt with.
They hand it to Pollard. He comes running out the right side. Deep to the post to Lamb. At the 5 to the goal line.
Dallas Cowboys Game Night is presented by AT&T, official sponsor of the Dallas Cowboys.
Just outside of New York, the Dallas Cowboys storm into East Rutherford and leave with a giant beatdown in Week 1. 40-0, the final scores. The Dallas Cowboys open the 2023 season in style. 3 takeaways, 7 sacks, and plenty of fun for Cowboys fans across the board as all 3 phases find the end zone: offense, defense, and special teams. We welcome you into the first edition of Cowboys Game Night from the Star in Frisco alongside Nate Newton. I'm Kyle Youmans. Nate, this was the second largest margin of victory in a season opener in Dallas Cowboys team history. The only one bigger was in 1968.
Wow.
It also marks the largest road point differential in Cowboys franchise history. It's hard to find a better way to start the season.
Oh, it was great. I mean, like you said, it was all 3 phases. Cowboy. What's more important is how that defense played, setting the tempo, backed over the special teams. It was just a great performance.
It was defense that set the tone early on, and we'll get to the highlights here in a second. But for the most part, it was all 3 phases that did their job. Mike McCarthy had this team ready to play in Week 1.
Oh,
I'm setting that one up.
I thought we was going into the highlights. I'm sorry.
Not yet, no. But tell me about Mike McCarthy.
Mike
and how
McCarthy,
he
what I've been waiting on is for him to call plays. Actually, ever since the day he walked onto this, into this studio, into this program here, I've been waiting on him to call plays. I actually, before this season started, I walked up to him and said, "Coach, what took so long?" And you saw the difference in how he made the play calls. He was efficient. He was aware of where our defense was, how much time they were spending on the field. He called the proper plays at the right time, and that was exciting for me.
It was certainly exciting. Now let's get to Nate Newton's favorite part of Cowboys Game Night. Let's get to the highlights and see how this one unfolded for Dak Prescott starting in New York. He's won 10 straight against the Giants, but it was New York early that established the run, marching down the field in 10 plays, but the 11th was a wild snap on 3rd and short, forcing a field goal attempt from 45 yards out. That field goal was snapped. It was blocked by Wanye Thomas, and then the newest Dallas Cowboy, Noah Igbenogany, tiptoes down the sideline. He takes it all the way to the house.
That's how you do it. You block it like that right there with a young way, and this kid here scoops and scores. This is how you do it. Perfect get through, block, scoop, score.
Special team scoring the opening touchdown of 2023. Who had that one on the bingo card? Dallas up 6-0. Next drive didn't last long for Daniel Jones. Micah Parsons with his first of hopefully many sacks in the 2023 season. And the punt leads to a Cowboys field goal. Leading 9-0. Dallas flying around on defense. Next pass attempt from Jones was Diggs laying down the hammer. Trayvon forces the incompletion. Bland there for the interception. And he takes it 22 yards to the house.
Hey, you know what this kid, he's from Bama, so he know how to hit people. And that's how he finally came up, made the big play on Saquon Barkley, and Bland takes it to the house. Great play.
Offense barely touched the field in the first quarter, and they were up 16-0 after another field goal. It was Daniel Jones rolling to his right, pressured by Parsons and Van Der Esch, and he throws it to another one of the newest Cowboys additions. Stephon Gilmore gets his hands underneath this one, his first pick in a Cowboys uniform. That leads to Tony Pollard in the red zone. Of course, Tony Pollard, the franchise running back, they roll to him on the toss right. He waits for blocks to develop, and he's into the end zone. His first touchdown of the season from 2 yards out. Dallas led 26-0 at the halftime break, and the onslaught continued in the third. Pollard this time rolling right. He gets a block from Zach Martin, his second touchdown of the night. Cowboys up 33-0, and they weren't done yet. Toss back to Kevontae Turpin. He finds his way in. It's 40 points in Week 1 for the Dallas Cowboys on the road. Kevontae Turpin with his first career touchdown, and that'll do it in the rain in the Meadowlands. The rain could not dampen the Dallas Cowboys parade in New York. Dak Prescott didn't have to do much, just 13 completions and only 143 passing yards, half of those going to CeeDee Lamb through the air as the Cowboys dismantle the New York Giants at MetLife Stadium in Week 1, the largest margin of victory in a Cowboys road game in franchise history. We've still got plenty more to come. We're just getting started on Cowboys game night. When we come back, Mike McCarthy goes to the podium. He talks about this massive win. The Cowboys' new mantra, Carpe Omnia, seize everything. They did that in week 1.
This segment is brought to you by the Texas Lottery. Make every day game day with Dallas Cowboys scratch tickets from the Texas Lottery. Play today for your chance to win big.
It's hard to find a Mike McCarthy head coach style like what he brings to the table, saying that, hey, Carpe Omnia, you have to seize everything. Well, they did in all 3 phases for the Dallas Cowboys. Pretty sure Mike McCarthy has a happy podium. Let's just go ahead and throw it out to the Meadowlands and hear from Mike.
I mean, really, the focus was to get off, the season, take the first step. We accomplished that tonight. I think just like anything, it was our first live game together. So, then you had the weather factor in. So, a lot of good things tonight to build off of but I mean, it is one win. It's your first division win, your first road win, and all those are important because it's important to get that first one under your belt. But just the way we played, and it's nice when you see the players, emphasize and you see it exercised in practice and carried over to the field. I thought the defense and the block field goal got it started, and and it really never stopped. Defense was relentless all night. The takeaways, and just what a great job with the return game and the offense for taking care of the football. I mean, that was there were some tough conditions. You can see both sides handling snaps, handling punts. Exchanges were a challenge all night, and I thought the offense did an excellent job in that area too. So, the big play production was probably as high as I can recall. And that's how you get to these type of games. But it's one win. It's a really good start for us.
Your first opening win as a Cowboys coach. You can talk about that and just the completeness of what you did.
Zach Martin just told me that. Walking in there, the PR department forgot to tell me that I hadn't won a game yet, so I would have been more motivated coming in here. But, yeah, I mean, I'll take it. I mean, I never focused on that. I mean, it's important to get that first win. So it was good to get, I guess, my first opening win.
Mike Jordy, I've signed with Yahoo Sports. Even if you're focused on it for you, returning to play calling, how did it feel? And I guess what was that experience like?
I mean, it was good. I think like anything, because of the weather, you had to adjust. And I thought the offensive staff and the communication of players was excellent tonight. I mean, there's always going to be things that, I'm going to want to do better, and that's it's no different tonight. So, we had a couple things, but I thought it was a relatively clean game. I thought, I don't ever want to say conservative. I think you have to be smart in spots there, and I thought Dak did an excellent job commanding that and being smart in the decision making. Particularly because you can see the way the game started there early. After their first drive, the ball, protecting the football was going to be a big challenge tonight, and I thought Dak and the offense did a really nice job of that.
Mike McCarthy saying that was a relatively clean game for the Cowboys. You can catch the entire post-game press conference on DallasCowboys.com, but I think he's putting it lightly. And we'll start on the offensive side as he was the play caller. What did you think about the debut? They did take care of the football, didn't have to do too much because the points were already on the board.
What I liked about it is they ran the ball 30 times for 122 yards, for 4.1 yards average, 3 TDs. Sometimes you have to manage the game. And that's what him and Dak came up with today. Look at here, we jumped out ahead. Special teams did what they had to do, a quick score. Defense did what they had to do, quick score, a bunch of sacks, bunch of hurries. The New York team was panicking. The Cowboys team just played at an even kill all game long, led with the running game.
Yeah, speaking of the running game, the offensive line dealing without Tyler Smith. How did you feel like they filled in his absence? Chuma Edoga had to leave for a little bit. TJ Bass getting some snaps at left guard. But how did you feel like the run game was established up front?
Oh, I like it, man. When you can rush 30 times in any game, and when you're leading the game, that is a great thing. I think Edoga did a great job, and I know Tyron Smith held up.
Yeah, he definitely did and was active as well. Zach Martin springing Tony Pollard for the touchdown on the goal line as well. It was fun to watch that offensive line, even without Tyler Smith, former first-round pick, do a nice job up front protecting for that Cowboys offense. When we come back, though, we hear from Dak Prescott and how he felt like the Week 1 jitters were taken care of.
This segment was brought to you by the Texas Lottery. Make every day game day with Dallas Cowboys scratch tickets from the Texas Lottery. Play today for your chance to win big.
Dak Prescott just 13 of 24 passing for 143 yards, 77 of those going to C.D. Lamb. Let's hear from QB1, who's now 1-0 on the season with a 40-0 win over New York.
Yeah, I mean, great team win. And like you said, it starts with the defense, really starts with special teams. I mean, starting with the block field goal that turns into a touchdown, and then just the defense then just creating turnovers and giving us a couple of touchdown lead, and then just allowing them to go feast. And I think I've talked about it all spring to training camp, understanding the pass rush that we were going against at practice and just watching that come alive against another team, another quarterback was exciting. And as you said, made it easier for us on our side.
John. John Michaud, The Athletic. How was the communication and how do you think things went with Mike calling the plays for the first time? How did you guys think you did it?
Yeah, I mean, great. Yeah, not necessarily me to him getting to do it in the preseason, but heard how he called all the games, the first couple of games, and then we've had opportunities at practice, whether it be 2-minute, whether it just be put the ball down, call it plays, whether it be the red zone drill, where I understood his flow, I understood his tempo, how he got things in the plays, and his purpose in it, as I talked about all spring. And that goes just honestly to our communication throughout the week of why he's calling something, when he's going to call it, and what he wants to call it for. And thought it went smooth and a great start.
Calvin Watkins, Dallas Morning News. Your thoughts on some of the different things you did offensively? You got Turpin in the backfield, and obviously Tony got 2 touchdowns, but some of the different things you did tonight.
Yeah, I think I've said it all off season long, just that we've got playmakers, we got guys that have a lot of speed, that need to get the ball out in space, and that's something that you're going to see this year from us is I don't want to say featuring those guys more, but getting those guys that deserve the ball in space as much as we can, knowing that they're great guys to make guys miss and create explosive plays, and that's how you make explosives without chasing them. So we've got the guys to do it, and it's my job to get it to them.
Dak Prescott didn't have to do too much in terms of the offensive side of the football, mostly take care of it, and he leaves the matchup with the New York Giants without a single turnover offensively. Certainly something to look forward to going into Week 2 against the New York Jets. When we come back, we go back to the defensive side of the football and hear from Trayvon Diggs after the 40-0 win over the Giants. Welcome back into Cowboys Game Night with Nate Newton. I'm Kyle Youmans. Let's go back out to MetLife Stadium and hear from Trayvon Diggs, who was instrumental in the Cowboys defense shutting out the Giants in Week 1.
I feel like we got a standard that we live to. I feel like, we hold everyone to that standard. Just getting the job done, executing all the calls, and everyone you got to play to make sure you make it.
So you get the football to your son, Aiden. What was that moment like for you?
He asked me like before I had went on. He said, "Dad, can you give me a pick?" I was like, "All right, I'm gonna try." And it just happened. He threw the ball and I got a forced fumble. So I was like, "Here you go. It's good enough."
There have been at times some comments about is Trayvon gonna stick his nose in there and make a hit, and he hit on that play. Do you feel like you kind of silenced some of that with a play like that?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I hope so.
Good. You got in on 2 turnovers tonight. Steph got 1. What's your case for y'all being the best cornerback duo in the league?
You asking me or you telling me? You asked me, are we the best cornerback duo in the league?
Well, what's your statement as far as that conversation? Why do you think y'all are?
I feel like we're just going to continue to put it on display every week, and then we're going to let y'all decide.
Micah felt like you guys made a statement. Micah felt like you guys made a statement as a unit tonight about this being the best defense.
Yeah, 100%.
What kind of confidence level do you guys have that there's nobody doing this better than y'all?
I agree with him 110%. I don't feel like there's nobody better than us at all.
Did that pass rush surprise you at all?
No. It surprised him. He said, "Oh my!" He said, "Oh my God."
All right, guys. Thank you.
It's hard to argue with Trayvon Diggs saying that he feels like no one is better than this Cowboys defense. Well, they just put down the largest shutout victory in Cowboys franchise history. That's a lot of games, Nate.
Yes.
A lot of defenses, including the doomsday defenses of the past. It's hard to argue, though, just how much of a statement was made tonight.
Well, first game, it was a great statement. You know, Diggs came up forcing a fumble with Saquon Barkley. Later on in the game, he's trailing on the crossing route, come out and punch the ball out. But that front seven put a lot of pressure on these other teams. So on this Giants team, so that allowed guys to take chances, calculated chances. And every time they took a chance, it turned out to be a big play, especially in the secondary.
And probably one of the more fun things about this matchup and about the performance from the defense, it was a mixture of the superstars and, of course, the new additions.
Yes.
You have guys like Micah Parsons, Trayvon Diggs, Stephon Gilmore, DeMarcus Lawrence all making an impact. But then you have guys like Wanye Thomas and Marquise Bell making plays. A mixture like that could be very dangerous for this Cowboys defense.
Oh, yeah, when you got youth, the enthusiasm of youth mixed in with them veteran guys who's getting them lined up, like I said, they're making plays. And I like how Marquise Bell came up and was very physical tonight. Deron Bland got him a pick, man, and went to the house. So, hey, these young guys are making their impact felt early in this season.
Now, Micah Parsons and Trayvon Diggs both made an early case. It's still just week one, but for Defensive Player of the Year, who do you think made the biggest statement against the Giants?
You know, I hate to say this. I love you, Diggs. Hey, man, you got your bag, but Parsons is the man. It all rotates around Parsons.
There were tons of pressure. The Cowboys pressured Daniel Jones and the Giants in almost 2/3 of the entire dropbacks in the ball game. It was actually the fourth highest total since 2019 in the NFL in terms of single game pressure on a dropback. Cowboys defense got after Daniel Jones and continued to pressure him as the game went along. When we come back here on Cowboys Game Night, we wrap things up, tie a bow on this win, and take a look at week 2.
Dallas Cowboys Game Night was presented by AT&T, official sponsor of the Dallas Cowboys.
The Dallas Cowboys take week 1 and their first matchup of the 2023 season, 40-0 over the Giants, marking the largest road point differential in franchise history. Their previous best was 37 points in a differential of a 40-3 win over Minnesota last season. They did so in all 3 phases: offense, defense, special teams, finding the end zone. As we wrap things up here on Cowboys Game Night, alongside Nate Newton, I'm Kyle Youmans. And Nate, it's not done with New York yet. You got to face the Jets next week at AT&T Stadium. Aaron Rodgers and company coming to town on a short week. They play the Bills tomorrow night, so get your scouting in, Cowboys Nation. What do we have to look forward to in week 2?
We just got to make sure we be up on our keys. You know, Aaron Rodgers is like John Wicks. He just won't go away. We can't get rid of this guy. He shows up. But we just be on our keys defensively. Make sure we run the ball to try to control time of possession. We should be all right because this team is feeling good about themselves. Clean up the small things and make sure you continue to tackle.
How tough is it to stay focused after a big win like that? You had some big wins in your career. How do you continue to stay laser focused going into week 2?
This is a veteran team, Kyle, and they know that every game counts, and they need to stay with pace with the rest of the NFC East, so it shouldn't be very hard at all.
Yeah, you had multiple wins in the NFC East today, including the Eagles, who got a win early on. What's one player that you want to keep an eye on this week to see a better week 2?
I want to see if Ndoga is back again so that he may be a little bit better. That's my guy. It's always going to be the offensive line. Just keep them together, Zach Martin. Keep them together.
Those are your guys. Of course, Tyler Smith out here in week 1. No problem for the Cowboys. 40-0 the final score over the Giants. For everybody in our Dallas Cowboys crew, for Nate Newton, I'm Kyle Youmans. We'll see you next week.